Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located. Thank you all so much for joining Amtrak Vacations as today we feature our overnight rail experiences and everything you need to know. So, first and foremost, let me just take a minute to introduce myself to everybody. My name is Jim Marini, and I will proudly be your host here today. Today's presentation is scheduled to be about 45 minutes, give or take, with questions that I will be saving to the end of today's presentation. Also want to mention to all of you, any exciting overnight rail experience, rail vacation that you see, pick up that phone, folks. Give us a call or contact your local travel agent. We are open from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, as well as on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did want to mention again, I will be saving questions for any of you that have any at the end of today's presentation. So please feel free to type those away on the right-hand side of your screen in the question box, and we will do our best. We also have a couple fun little handouts for all of you to download if you'd like on some of our most popular rail journeys. So with that in mind, everyone, let's move through. And I did want to start out today's presentation sharing with all of you, folks, we got some big offers going on right here, right now. Some round trip packages, as you can see, Seattle on sale, some of our beautiful national parks such as Glacier. How about traveling around the US on our Grand Rail experience, as well as even New Orleans and Yosemite, just to name a handful. And folks, you can view any of these specials or certainly any others that we have on our website, and that is www.amtrakvacations.com. Amtrak Vacations, all one word, .com. So with that in mind, everyone, let's move right into today's presentation. And one of the first pictures I always love to show all of our travelers is actually the Amtrak Vacation System map. So I got a little fun trivia for all of you. Believe it or not, can you believe last year alone, just last year, over 31 million people traveled on board Amtrak, over 31 million people. So in fact, if Amtrak was an airline, it would actually be the fifth largest airline in all of the United States. Now, interestingly enough, Amtrak actually travels to 46 out of the 48 states within the continental United States. In fact, the only two states the train does not physically go through are the states of South Dakota and Wyoming. And if you look at the map, everyone, and all those beautiful colorful lines, that's all the different train routes with the names of some of the different trains. So I'm sure many of you have heard of the California Zephyr, or certainly traveled on board the California Zephyr. How about the Empire Builder, the Southwest Chief, the Coast Starlight? These are some of the most iconic trains, not only here in the United States, but also around the world. Now, what makes Amtrak Vacations different? Folks, these are the top 6 reasons that we have compiled over the last few years from so many of our travel agent, travel advisor partners that have had clients travel with us, many of our travelers around the world, and we've narrowed it down to the top 6 reasons. All the way to the bottom left-hand corner, and hopefully for many of you joining myself here today, it's one of your reasons, and that is a bucket list experience. I can't tell you how many folks I get a chance to speak to or meet in person that have said to me, you know, Jim, this was just on our bucket list and we were able to make it happen. It's a dream come true. You can do the same as well. And folks, here at Amtrak Vacations, we not only take care of the train, we take care of hotels, sightseeing, meals, activities. We pretty much do everything. So we got some fantastic packages already put together, but any of them can be customized as well, which I'm going to get to in just a little bit. The second point down at the bottom is freedom and flexibility. Did you know you can arrive at any of the Amtrak stations as close as only 45 minutes to an hour before departure? Isn't that fantastic? As many of us know, if we have flown, many times we have to arrive at the airport a minimum of 2 to 3 hours ahead of time. Well, we have daily departures throughout most of the major stations in the United States, and in some cases, multiple departures. We also have lots of freedom for each of you to get around on board the train. So in fact, we encourage all of you to move around, go to the observation car, the lounge car, the dining car. just know you have that freedom and flexibility. Also, hassle-free. Folks, when I mentioned you can get to the airport 45 minutes to an hour, as long as you have your either e-ticket or you have a printed copy of your ticket, you just show the attendant and you're able to board right on board the train. Very, very easy process. The fourth point is we are the official tour operator of Amtrak itself. What does that mean for all of you? As I mentioned earlier, again, we do everything, not just the trains, but it also including the hotels. And by the way, speaking of hotels, you have choices of 3, 4, and 5 star, 3, 4, and 5 diamond hotels. So depending on what your budget is, we include obviously again sightseeing, meals, activities, and we'll touch into that in just a little bit. We also pride ourselves on giving you city to city service. Now, I'm doing today's presentation out of the Boston area, everyone. Now, for those of you that have ever been into New York City, Penn Station, right? I'm sure many of you can agree. I'll use that train station as an example. When I mention city to city service, which is that round circle, the fifth one down at the bottom towards the right, that is a perfect example. Folks, when you get off the train, you are literally within blocks of Broadway. You are literally within blocks of Times Square. Well, that applies to many of our train stations throughout the United States, truly bringing you and your friends and family into the heart of the cities. And the last point, there is something for everyone. And I love this picture, as you can see, with the grandmom and her grandchild. We have so many folks travel with us, all different ages, traveling with families, children, grandchildren. We encourage you to do the same. I always say, being married myself with 3 young children, I don't think I've ever met any child that doesn't love the train. And that has nothing to do with me even being on board with Amtrak Vacations. So if you've ever thought of traveling with your children or grandchildren, I'm sure they will not be disappointed, that's for sure. All right, let's talk about customization and how you can customize any trip, everyone. And by the way, if I sound a little excited, I hope it does come across, because folks, certainly for all of us getting ready for the holidays, such a beautiful time of the year. So I really appreciate all of you being here today. By the way, we have a fantastic turnout. Over 1,000 people are in attendance today for our presentations on our overnight rail experiences. So thank you all. All right, so let me give you an example of what customize means. You could take one of our packages, such as our Rails to the Grand Canyon package. That's the package you see on the left-hand side. That's a 5-day, 4-night package that happens to be round trip from Los Angeles, just as an example. And let's say instead of spending 2 nights inside the Grand Canyon, you want to spend 3 nights. Well, we can easily add an extra night at one of our many lodges, such as El Tovar, as you can see right there in the middle. And by the way, we can get space inside those hard to get space lodges inside the national park. So if anyone joining myself here today is interested in the Grand Canyon, Glacier, Yellowstone, Yosemite, we are definitely the perfect answer to your question, and that is we can get space inside those lodges. El Tovar happened to be one of them. Let's say you want to add an extra night in Los Angeles, we can easily do that. What does that equal? That equals your customized vacation. Very easy, and we do it all the time. All right, let's take a look at the train. Now, this often comes up a lot. How much can we bring on board the train? Well, to me, this is a big advantage as well. Did you know, everyone, you are actually allowed 2 free carry-on bags per person, as well as 2 checked pieces of luggage up to 50 pounds, 50 pounds each per person. And here's the best part, everyone, for free. All right, there is no charge to bring 2 carry-ons and 2 pieces of luggage per person for free. Last time I checked, most airlines, there is a charge unless you're part of an elite status with that particular airline. All right, let's take a look at the onboard accommodations. In the first category, I'm going to show everyone. I'm going to leave this on the screen for a little bit, but before I do, let me just highlight again, there's so much opportunity. In fact, we encourage you to get out of your seats, move around the cabin, go to the observation car, as you can see in the top right-hand corner, especially when you're traveling overnight out to some of the beautiful national parks. Maybe go to the lounge car, as you can see down in the bottom left-hand corner. In fact, when I look at that picture, everyone, it brings back some fond memories, as earlier this year, my wife and I and our 3 children actually took the auto train. Some of you may have heard about that train. It's the only train in the United States, one train that you can actually bring your car, your truck, your literally a motorcycle if you have it on board the train, which leaves from Lorton, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C., and travels down to Sanford, Florida, right outside of Orlando. So needless to say, being in the Boston area, we escaped the winter in February during the school vacation, and we headed down into Florida. But I use that picture as an example because on one of the days we had a fantastic game of Uno. And, I often get the question a lot, Jim, is there wireless available on board the train? And the answer is yes. Wireless is available throughout the major cities, and it is free of charge. However, whenever you travel throughout some of the rural country areas of the U.S. or more of the mountainous regions out into the national parks, wireless is not available. And when we were traveling to Florida, as we were traveling through some parts of the Carolinas, we were out in more of the rural parts of the states, and it just allowed us to spend time as a family. There was no phones that worked, right? There was no internet that was on. And I always say, isn't that part of the reason we travel on board the train, is to just experience not only the beautiful scenery along the way, but also each other's company? And we certainly had an experience to not forget, that's for sure. All right, let's take a look at coach accommodations. Now, folks, anytime you're traveling on board the train during the day, rest assured, this is our coach accommodations. And I'm going to give you a big highlight right now. There are no middle seats on board any of our trains. All right. So unlike an airline where you could be stuck in a middle seat, on board Amtrak, with Amtrak Vacations, you have 2 extra large seats on one side and 2 extra large seats on the other. Not to mention lots of leg room, as you can see here in the picture. There's an outlet that you can charge your iPhone, your mobile device, your iPad, your laptop, computer, okay? There's also a nice section above the overhead to store your carry-on bag if you'd like. And yes, you can bring your own snacks and food on board as well. Now, because today it is about the overnight rail experience and hopefully everything you need to know, we have one of 2 most popular categories, okay? Our most popular overnight accommodation is what we call roomettes. Roomettes typically fit 2 adults, okay, or 2 people rather. As you can see in the diagram in the bottom left-hand corner, it is bunk bed style, all right? Now, what do you not see inside of a roomette? What you don't see is its own private toilet and shower inside of a roomette. But remember, it's our most popular and our most affordable, because right down the hallway, as you can see to the right of the lady sitting down, that's the little hallway. Right down the hallway, there's toilets and showers, and they're only available to folks that are in roomettes or bedrooms, okay? Now, Roomette Recap, as I mentioned, it does fit 2 people, so 2 adults or an adult and a child. It has 2 comfy beds, 2 seats, outlets, a fold-down table, and yes, all meals are included. I'm going to mention a couple other exciting highlights as well. You also have access to any available coach seat during your journey. So if you want to leave your roomette and go sit in an open or available seat and coach, you can do that. Also, when you're in a roomette or a bedroom, you also get first choice as to what time you would like to have dinner. And typically there's 3 to 4 times having dinner when you're traveling on any of our trains heading out west from Chicago out to the national parks into California. Now, you know yourselves the best. If you want your own private toilet and shower inside of your room, folks, no worries. Amtrak Vacations, we have you covered. That is what we call our bedroom. Now, bedrooms are going to be a little bit more expensive, of course, than a roomette, but as you can see in the diagram in the bottom left-hand corner, it is bunk bed style, but it does have its own private toilet and shower. So let me give you a little recap. Now, another difference is not only does it fit 2 adults, it also has room for a small child. So as I mentioned earlier, when my family and I went down to Florida, we actually had 2 bedrooms that were adjoining. And in some train cases, some of our routes, certain trains, you're able to get adjoining bedrooms. So that's what we did, because obviously I'm a family of 5. So on one side, I stayed in the lower bed with my youngest son, Nick, and my wife stayed on the other side with our daughter, Camille. And then my oldest son stayed in one of the top bunks. So it was really nice, and the rooms opened up, absolutely fantastic. But again, we had our own private toilet and shower inside of the bedrooms. You can as well. Again, little extra charge than what a roomette would be, but again, you have that convenience of having that right inside your room. Now, we also have handicap accessible rooms available. So if anybody needs any handicap accessible room, just let us know. The beauty is just relaxing and enjoying the views from the lounge car, or again, as I mentioned with my own family, having a game of Uno, maybe a game of cards, or as you can see here, a little coloring. Lots of fun. I highly recommend, however, to take advantage of the observation car, especially as we're talking about overnight journeys. So for any of you that are dreaming, or it's on your wish list, bucket list, to travel out to the Western United States, which is some of the most iconic, most beautiful sightseeing that you'll ever see in the United States, this is where you want to be. And by the way, this is free of charge. So regardless if you're in coach seating, a roomette, bedroom, whatever category you are in, everyone has access to the observation car. And this is where I find myself during the day, as well as right from the comfort of my own room or an available coach seat. Now, the beauty with dining on the train itself, everyone, you can order off the menu. All right. If anybody has any special dietary requests, just let your local travel advisor, your local travel agent know, or let any of our staff at Amtrak Vacations know, and we will put that request in for you. Okay. So with that in mind, let's move into some of our most popular overnight rail experiences. And the first one I'm going to start out with is what we call our Northern Rail Experience. Folks, we came out with this trip about 3 years ago. And by the way, all of our packages that we have, they actually were designed and requested by our travelers, by our travel advisors and travel agents who had clients that wanted to see certain sites, wanted to spend a certain amount of days on board certain trains. That's what we did, is create packages based on the request. So this is one of them. It continues to be one of our top 3 most popular rail experiences that we have. As you can see here, if you look at the map, everyone, you can see it's round trip from Chicago. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, well, Jim, I'm in Florida, I'm in New York, I'm in California. How do I get to Chicago? Very easy, everyone. So for any of you joining myself here today in Amtrak Vacations, you know yourselves the best. If you don't like to fly, or you don't want to fly, or you don't feel like driving, okay, we can start you, or your local travel advisor can start you right from your local Amtrak station, where we can bring you to and from Chicago, where then you can take advantage of this trip. Or you could certainly book flights through your local travel advisor or agent, who can also book the entire package for you. Now, let me use this map as an example, everyone. If you look at this map and you look at the red lines obviously represent the trains, okay? When you look at the number 1 or the number 2 in a triangle, okay, in a red triangle, that just tells you how many nights you're on board the train. So as an example, from Chicago to Seattle, you are on board for 2 nights. And by the way, let's have a little fun, everyone. We're right coming close to the holidays. So in your question box, let's see who can get the answer right. I'm not going to call anyone out, okay? But let's have a little fun right now. On the right-hand side of your screen, in the question box, everyone, who here wants to type in, what's the name of that train that goes from Chicago out to Seattle? Again, I'm not going to call anyone out, but let's have a little fun. In your question box, everyone, just type in the answer. What is the name of that train? Let's see how many folks we have joining myself here today that knows the name of that train. And by the way, I'm seeing tons of answers. And by the way, everyone is correct so far. This is fantastic. Oh my goodness. I have not seen not one wrong answer. Look at this. Fantastic. Okay, you ready, everyone? The name of that train route is called the Empire Builder. The Empire Builder, which goes right through the beautiful state of Minnesota, out into, of course, Montana, and out over into the beautiful state of Washington, as well as, of course, the northern portion of Idaho. One of the most iconic train routes. Let's have a little more fun, okay? How about the name of the train route that goes from Seattle down to San Francisco? Who wants to Who wants to type in that answer? What is the name of that train route from Seattle down to San Francisco? Okay, good. See, lots of great answers. Most of you have it correct. Most of you do. Okay, ready, everyone? The name of that train route is called the Coast Starlight. The Coast Starlight, which, by the way, for the last 3 years has been listed as one of the top most beautiful train routes in all of the United States. And the last one is one that's near and dear to myself that I've had the pleasure of going on not once but twice recently in the last few years, from San Francisco out to Chicago. Last question, everyone. All right, yep, they're already coming in. Type in the answer. What is the name of that train route? Folks, I'm impressed. I got to tell you, you all know your stuff. And that is exactly right. So the name of that train route, everyone, is called the California Zephyr. The California Zephyr. All right. So this package right here, everyone, let me just kind of walk you through. As I mentioned, again, it is round trip from Chicago, but again, it can start right from your local Amtrak station. So basically, this trip or any other trip can be round trip right from your local Amtrak station. In this case, the first city that we spend the night is the great city of Seattle, home, of course, to, as you can see, the Public Market Center, the Fish Market, Pike's Marketplace, also home to the first Starbucks that ever opened up back in 1971. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we do include a hop-on, hop-off tour. From there, we then travel down on the Coast Starlight to the great city of San Francisco, which is where I visited for my first day of my honeymoon many, many years ago. But one of my favorite cities, obviously you have the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge, as you can see on the right-hand side. And we do also include a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour. But this trip itself, everyone, you know yourselves the best. If you are more excited and interested on just the true overnight experience on board the train, and you really want to experience more of the different trains, this is a package to consider. And by the way, look at that pricing, everyone. By the way, the pricing you see here and all of our pricing on the packages I'm going to be showing you, as well as on our website, in our brochure, pricing is always based on double occupancy. So this is per person, and it's based in coach seating, our main seating on board the train. So if you do want to upgrade to a sleeper, which I'm going to highly recommend on any of our overnight packages, obviously that would be at an additional charge. But remember, when you have your own private sleeper, whether it's a roomette, a bedroom, a handicap accessible room, not only do you have your own private room on board the train, but you also get all your meals included from the city you depart from until the city you arrive in. During that time, you're in a sleeper. Now, we have some other fantastic packages that also give you that true overnight rail experience, but we also have packages that give you some of the most iconic sites that you don't want to miss, such as some of the beautiful national parks. Here is one of our other top 3 packages in the United States, known as our Grand National Parks, everyone. That includes Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. And as you can see, looking at the red lines, you have multiple opportunities to travel overnight on board the train. I will mention one point. When you go to Yellowstone National Park on this package, everyone, just so everyone knows, the train does not physically go up to Yellowstone. So what you're actually looking at is that is a motor coach sightseeing tour that we do from Salt Lake City that brings you up into Yellowstone, where you spend 2 nights, and then brings you back to Salt Lake City, where then you continue on your fantastic journey. By the way, speaking of Salt Lake City, one of the first evenings, we're going to include dinner at the Rooftop Restaurant. Absolutely iconic restaurant in Salt Lake City, just a fantastic city to spend time. Then from there, it's up into one of the most beautiful national parks, Yellowstone National Park, where we do include a sightseeing tour of the lower loop. Now, all of our trips are all independent style vacation. So what does that mean? We include enough items within the packages so you have enough structure, but we also allow enough time at leisure on your own. So you have that flexibility to come and go. So whenever you visit some of the national parks, typically we're going to include either a half a day or a full day tour with a local tour guide or a local park ranger. This is an example of one of them where we do include a sightseeing tour of the Yellow Loop. We also go to Yellowstone, not only Yellowstone, we go to Yosemite, which is a full day guided tour from San Francisco. And of course, the last national park we visit on this package is the Grand Canyon. And by the way, speaking of the Grand Canyon, do you know over 7 million people visited the Grand Canyon last year? And speaking of the number 7, it's considered to be one of the 7 wonders of the world. This package, everyone, 13 days, 12 nights, and again, round trip from Chicago, but certainly you can start any trip right from your local Amtrak station if you don't like to fly or you don't want to fly or drive. Or, of course, you have that option to book your flights again through your local travel advisor or travel agent who can also book the entire package for you. Now, we do also have some packages that start in one great city but end in another. So not every package has to be round trip from a particular city. So you may decide, you know, son, I'm going to fly to Chicago and I'm going to do this Grand Tetons and Yellowstone rail journey, and I'm going to travel overnight on board the California Zephyr. So I have that overnight experience, spend 2 nights in Salt Lake City, and then travel north up into Jackson Hole, Grand Teton National Park, as well as Yellowstone for a couple nights. And by the way, Grand Teton, absolutely fantastic. We're going to have really just such a great opportunity for a half a day sightseeing tour right at the national park. And again, this will be with a local tour guide. We'll also travel again up to Yellowstone where we spend 2 nights. And by the way, I can't say enough about it. Any of you that are interested, not only in the overnight rail experiences, but in particular to some of the beautiful national parks, folks, we can get space inside those lodges, either inside or right outside of the national parks. Many of these lodges book sometimes 1 to 2 years in advance. You just give us a call or contact your local travel agent or travel advisor, and we can help you with those arrangements. Now, this is also a great package because it's a little shorter as well. So depending on how many days you're looking to travel, depending on what your price range is that you're looking for, chances are we have something for you. And by the way, speaking of price ranges and the amount of days, here's an example where it's a great 5-day, 4-night package, otherwise known as Rails to the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, absolutely amazing. By the way, they say some of the rocks at the very bottom of the Grand Canyon are actually estimated to be up to 2 billion years old. And it's actually considered to be up around 6,000 feet deep, some parts of the Grand Canyon. So absolutely amazing national park to visit. And by the way, some of the national parks, they are seasonal, okay? And what does that mean? Meaning you can only go during certain times of the year. So for those of you that are joining myself here today that are interested in Yellowstone or Yosemite, that national park operates only from the month of May through the months of September and October, okay? Unlike the Grand Canyon, any of you can go any time of the year. You can go January, February, March, all the way through December. Now, another national park that's seasonal, meaning you cannot travel year-round, is what you see right here. This is our Glacier National Park, which again is going to give you that overnight rail experience. And great job, everyone. All of you that answered the question got it correct. On the train known as the Empire Builder, one of my absolute favorite train experiences. This national park, everyone, this is something to keep in mind. If any of you are interested in Glacier National Park, this is only available from the month of June through September. It's actually only open for 4 months of the year. So needless to say, this national park sells out. So if anyone is interested in Glacier in particular, this is a package you want to pick up that phone, give us a call or contact your local travel advisor to help make your arrangements. Now, this tour itself does happen to start in the great city of Chicago, which again, for any of you that are traveling from the eastern part of the US or traveling from other parts of the world or California, Chicago's such a fantastic city, home of the deep dish pizza. As you can see on the left-hand side, we do include a sightseeing architecture cruise of the great city itself. They're known for the Chicago hot dogs. By the way, any of you or many of you may have heard of the comedy club called Second City Comedy Club. Now, we don't include that, but these are just some examples of things that you can do during your free time at leisure on your own. I will tell you, it's one of the things I do every time I go to Chicago. I always catch a comedy show at Second City. Some of the most famous comedians of today, some of the most famous actors and actresses of today started at Second City Comedy Club in Chicago. It is fantastic. Again, Glacier National Park, everyone. This national park, one of the most iconic national parks in the world, let alone in the United States, and it's only available only from June through September of next year. It's only open for 4 months. In fact, many of the staff that work at the lodge itself, which, by the way, Glacier Park Lodge, that is the main lodge that all of our travelers typically stay at. It's only about 209 steps away from the Amtrak train station. Only about 209 steps from the Amtrak train station. So people can walk to the lodge, or there's a little shuttle that brings people to and from the train station to the lodge. Absolutely amazing. Over 1 million acres in Glacier National Park. Okay. Just fantastic. And the majority of the park, 97%, is located in the beautiful state of Montana. Before you know it, this package itself ends in Seattle, where then we spend some time. You get a chance to go to the Space Needle, the Chihuly Garden and Glass Museum, as well as have a sightseeing city tour before ending the trip. But again, remember, any trip you can customize. You have that ability, everyone. So if you say to any of our vacation consultants or your local travel agent or travel advisor, I'd like to spend 3 nights in Seattle, or I'd like to spend an extra night in Glacier National Park, you have the ability to do that, everyone. Any trip can be customized to be as long or as short as you would like. All right. This package itself, 10 days, 9 nights, again, starting in the great city of Chicago, ending in the great city of Seattle. By the way, folks, we have over 40 different types of packages where you can experience traveling overnight on board the rail, whether it's New Orleans, San Francisco, New York City, Washington, D.C., wherever you are located, you have that ability depending on how far of a train ride it is. So again, lots of great options to choose from, not only in the United States, but also up into Canada as well. So if anybody would like to even travel north over the border into Canada, you have the ability to do that through the great cities of Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver as well. You also have the ability, as I mentioned earlier, to choose between 3, 4, and 5-star hotels, 3, 4, and 5 diamond hotels. So depending on what your price range is and where you're trying to stay within your budget, we or your local travel agent or travel advisor will work with you so we find the right trip at the right price. Now, where can you view any of these packages or certainly any others? Folks, again, just visit our website, amtrakvacations.com, all one word. You could search by destinations, as you see right there on the left-hand side. How do you book any of these exciting trips? Folks, just pick up that phone. Give us a call or contact your local travel advisor. You can also view any of these trips, as I mentioned, on our website. Now, I do have some other exciting news before we open it up to any questions that you have. And I see we've had some questions come in throughout today's presentation, which is fantastic. These are fantastic everyday discounts. So any of you that are 65 or older, did you know you can qualify for up to 10% off the cost of a rail ticket within a package? All right, so as long as you're 65 or older, just let your local travel advisor or any of our vacation consultants know. If you look in the middle, look at this, everyone. Children ages 2 to 12, they can qualify for up to 50% off on the rail portion of a package, which is fantastic. So basically, they get half off the cost of a rail ticket on any package. And any military, first and foremost, thank you for your service. You and or your spouses can also qualify for up to 10% off on the cost of a rail ticket. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, we got some big offers going on right now, everyone. You can view any of these online, or again, you can pick up that phone and reach out to your local travel advisor or any of our vacation consultants. As I mentioned, don't forget to download your handouts. We have 2 exciting handouts. As I see, we have lots of questions. I do want to say thank you too, as well, to all of you. You've been so great participating, which is fantastic. And I'm impressed. I got to tell you, everyone, almost everyone knew the name of those 3 train routes. Okay, so Before I open it up to your questions, everyone, I do have one last fun question I'd love to ask all of you. I'm going to give you about a minute or two, okay? And in the question box on the right-hand side, okay, I'm not going to call anyone out. If you'd be so kind, everyone, just to type in your question box, folks, what rail vacation or destination are you interested in and when? All right. So not only where, but when. All right. If you'd be so kind, I'll give you a minute or two, everyone, and then I'm going to come back and hopefully answer as many questions as I can before the time expires. We have 45 minutes put aside, so I still have a little bit of time to get to as many questions as possible. If I am not able to answer all your questions, everyone, please don't even think twice. Pick up that phone, give us a call, or have or certainly reach out to your local travel advisor who can help answer any of those questions that you may have. But in the meantime, great, and I'm seeing lots of responses coming through. Lots of glaciers, I love it. New Orleans, New York City. Okay, we got a nice mix. Grand Canyon, fantastic, fantastic. So I'll give you another minute or so. Just type in, again, right-hand side on your question box. I'm not going to call anyone out. What rail vacation destination are you interested in and when? All right. So I'll give you a minute or two. And while you're typing those away, everyone, I'm going to pull up the list of questions. Again, we have over 1,000 people in attendance today. So I will apologize in advance if I'm not able to get to all of your questions, but I promise I will do my very best. We are allotted 45 minutes, so we still have some time, which is great. So, all right. Feel free to keep typing those away, but I'm going to get started on some of these questions and also some of the comments. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. Seeing a lot of nice comments coming through. So, all right. So first one, we have Bonnie. Hi, Jim. Is there a parking lot where I can leave my car during my trip? Great question, Bonnie. So many of the train stations have overnight parking. So depending on where you are looking to travel and out of what train station, that will determine if there is overnight or what they call long-term parking available. But many of the larger train stations do have overnight parking available. So I would just ask any of our vacation consultants. And again, we are open, folks, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, as well as 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Or again, you have your local travel agent or advisor who can help you with that as well. All right, let's see. Okay, hi Bradley. I have read about dining car service being adjusted. Great question, Bradley. So on any of our train routes along the eastern part of the United States, so from Chicago east to New York, those what has happened, which is pretty exciting, is we're actually Amtrak is offering what they call flex dining. So basically you have the flexibility to pick and choose meals and to eat them when you would like, okay? So you have that flexibility. All of the overnight rail experiences, which obviously are more on this tour, more out in the western United States. So all of the train routes that head from Chicago out west to Yellowstone, Yosemite, Glacier National Park, Grand Canyon, out to the California coast, those will still have your sit-down traditional meals. So breakfast, of course, there'll be times that you can go eat. Dinner times, typically dinner will be anywhere from 5 or 5:30 for the first seating until about 8 or 8:30, which is the last seating, all right? And those will be sit down, order off the menu, whatever you would choose, whereas the Eastern United States is a little more flex dining. Obviously in the Eastern, you get a little more commuters that go on, so it's something that Amtrak's pretty excited about. But of course, for the overnight, most iconic long distance, they'll still be the traditional sit-down meals, which is great. All right. All right. Thank you. Oh, hey, David. How are you? Thank you. All right. Let's see. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? What can we expect in the way of amenities in a roomette? Example, pillows, blankets. Great question, Lorraine. I could tell you firsthand, as I've done many trips myself and also with my family. So, you go into a roomette, there's bottled water, they have pillows there. There are blankets. There's also an area to store a little carry-on bag for the evening. There's outlets available in the room. There's also a little fold-down table. And by the way, the same applies in a bedroom. Obviously, bedroom is a little larger in size, but it does also have its own private toilet and shower as well. but very, very comfortable. And by the way, everyone that's in a roomette, a bedroom, a handicap accessible room, there is one attendant for every sleeping car. So sleeping car consists of multiple roomettes and multiple bedrooms, but he or she is there to help answer any questions that you may have, to help with turn down service, to also help take reservations as to what time you would like to dine for dinner as well. All right, let's see. Okay. Lisa, can I go to a local Amtrak station and see what the sleep accommodations look like? You know, that's a great question, Lisa. If you have any of the long distance overnight trains that are that operate out of your local Amtrak station, what I would say is that's probably a question you would probably want to ask some of the folks at the Amtrak station. I'm not sure if they allow that, just so you know, Lisa, but you could certainly view any of the overnight accommodations on board the, excuse me, rather on our website. We have different diagrams of what they look like. You know, I always say too, you know, feel free to type into Google. You can go on YouTube. You know, a lot of folks sometimes post videos of what it looks like inside. So worst case scenario, Lisa, if you're not allowed to for whatever reason, they are a little strict, as you can understand, because trains are coming and going constantly all day. If you're not allowed to, my guess is you're probably not allowed to do that. But certainly you're more than welcome to try. And if it doesn't work for whatever reason, again, feel free to just check right online. No worries at all. All right. Okay. Da-da-da. All right. Hi, John. How are you? Let's see. So my husband is 73, doesn't utilize a computer, but does read a catalog. How do we get a rail trip catalog? Very easy. Just give us a call, John. Our number, and by the way, for anybody, our phone number is listed down in the bottom right-hand corner. If anybody has obviously any questions that you have or any questions I'm not able to get to, or you'd like to order a brochure, we can get those right out to you. No worries. All right. Thanks, John. All right. Hi, James. How are you? He's got a let's see. Question: is water and coffee available 24/7 for roomette? So yes. So James. So obviously you have bottled water inside of your roomette. However, they do have a coffee machine down at the end of the hall of each of the sleeping cars that is available. So yes, you can have coffee throughout your overnight journey. All right. Let's see. John, where is a list of trains that have sleeping accommodation? So yeah, you could just view our website, amtrakvacations.com, or you can just ask any of our vacation consultants that have a list for you. Again, many of them you already answered on board. You already answered during my little fun part of the presentation. So it's going to be the Southwest Chief, the Empire Builder, the California Zephyr, the Coast Starlight. All right, these are the four main iconic trains that do have sleeping accommodations on board. All right, hope that helps. Thanks, John. Hi, Bradley. How are you? Do roomettes have AC outlets? That is important because I need to use a CPAP machine. Yes, they do, Bradley. So, yep, you just you have that ability. And I would also, I always say, also let the attendant know as well, and any of our vacation consultants or your local travel agent, but they do have that available in the room. All right, let's see. We are in a room. Where can we store our luggage? Hi, Gary. So in a room, what I always suggest, and again, it sounds like many of you have probably traveled already on board the train, which is fantastic. Usually whenever you're overnighting in a roomette or a bedroom, we always suggest to bring an overnight carry-on bag. Now, you could check in your luggage right at the train station, or you can bring it on board. They can store it right on the lower level, so you have access to it during your journey if you need to get to it. But in your roomette, in your bedroom, you want to bring a small carry-on bag, just because you don't have there's not a lot of room to store a big piece of luggage. So if you need your luggage handy, they could store it right on the first level of your sleeping car. Or you just get what you need. You can check it in right at the train station, and then you'll have your overnight bag, which, you know, I will tell you, whenever I do any overnights, which I do quite often, you know, I have my toiletries, I have my pajamas, I have my change of clothes for the next day, right? If anyone, you know, needs obviously any medication or snacks, things of that sort, that's what you'd put in your little overnight bag. Okay. All right, just move it through. And by the way, you all are awesome. Thank you all again for your participation. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. Next one. Hi, Gary. What does a handicap room have that a regular room does not? So obviously it's going to be wider in size. It's going to be wider in size, and it's ADA approved. So it's going to have certain sections of the room that, of course, are geared and accessible, much easier accessibility than a standard roomette or a bedroom would be. Okay. And those are fantastic. You just let us know. They are on a limited basis for anyone who does need handicap accessible. So just, let us know and we'll help you any way we can. Hi, Saban. What are the dates for Glacier again? So again, Glacier National Park, everyone, only operates from the month of June through the month of September. So it's a very, very short season as well. Okay. So I wanted to mention that. All right. Folks, I have put in a request to extend an extra 5 minutes so I can get to a few more questions. And again, let me apologize if I'm not able to get to all your questions. Don't even think twice, everyone. Just give us a call or contact your local travel advisor for any of you that have any additional questions, or if I was not able to get to all of them. Let's see. Gary, are we responsible for moving our luggage? So they do have red cap service, folks, at many of the train stations. These are men and women literally with a red jacket or a red hat, and they're there to help with any luggage moving on and off the train. And usually it's optional, but it's, a little tip is always appreciated, $1 or $2. It just is a nice little touch, and they'll help. And then of course the attendants on board the train can help as well as at the hotels. All right. Let's see, a walker and wheelchair, does that count as a luggage? It does not. So you can bring those, Gary. You just let, again, our vacation consultants or your local travel advisor know, just so we can put that in the record as well. All right. Great questions, everyone. Let's see. Tim, can you choose your specific room at the time of booking? Great question, Tim. Yes. So any of you that are booking any sleepers, okay, roomettes or bedrooms, if you have a particular room or you want to be on a particular side of the train, the right side or the left side, just let any of our vacation consultants or your local travel advisor know, and we'll try to get that all confirmed for you right there and then. All right, no worries at all. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Yes, I do love what I do. I'm glad it's coming across. Thank you. It's a lot of fun. I always say, isn't talking travel and isn't traveling, doesn't that bring smiles to most people's faces? That's why I've been in the industry, everyone, since I've been literally in college, and it's been over 20 plus years since. So definitely love making people's vacation dreams come true. All right, just moving through. Thank you all so much. Okay, and thanks for your responses. Let's see. Folks, there's over okay, we had the question, how many train stations are there? There's over 500 train stations in the United States. So chances are you have a local Amtrak station right near you. So again, any of you that don't like to fly or don't want to fly or drive, we can start and end your trip right from your local Amtrak station, okay? So you have the ability. Oh, how much are deposits? Deposits on an average are only about $250 per person, and that'll at least lock in the dates, the prices for each of you. We do offer an optional cancellation insurance, which does allow you to cancel up until 12 p.m. business day prior, and you'll get a form of a full refund back in a form of a voucher to use on a future trip. So you do have that flexibility as well. Let's see. Hi, Pat. How much is the upcharge for sleeping accommodation? So I will tell you, roomettes, which again are our most popular and our most affordable, on an average, you're looking maybe $200 to $300 extra per person to upgrade from a coach seat to a roomette on an average. Bedrooms would be double that cost, because obviously, again, you're going to have your own private toilet and shower inside. What I always mention, everyone, however, is prices change daily. Think if you're booking an airline ticket, you could check it today and tomorrow it could be a different price. Train travel is no different. Prices fluctuate, but that at least gives you an idea of kind of where you're looking at and when. So folks, we are just about up with time, and I don't want it to cut off before I end today's presentation. Again, if I did not get to your questions, folks, We are open all day today and tonight until 9 p.m., as well as the rest of this week. We are here to help you. Our vacation consultants or your local travel agent or advisor is waiting to help each and every one of you. I just wanted to say sincerely on behalf of Amtrak Vacations, I wanted to say thank you all so much again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation as much as I enjoyed presenting, and we look forward to having you, your friends, and family on board soon. With that in mind, everyone, I wish each and every one of you a happy holiday season and a happy new year. Thank you all so much again. Until next time, take care, everybody.